Welcome to the Transform My Dance Studio podcast, the only podcast for dance studio owners, where each week we bring you business growth strategies to help you increase your profits, impact the lives of more students, while ensuring you get back some time to have a little life outside of the studio. It's time for you to become the go-to studio in your area. Now, here's your host, founder of the Dance Studio Owners Association, Clint Salter.
Hey there, dance studio owners. Welcome to Transform My Dance Studio. It's Clint here, and I'm super pumped that you're joining us for today's episode. Now, our guest is one of the best in the business when it comes to advanced Facebook advertising, social media, and digital marketing strategies. He is a marketing strategist specializing in driving traffic, which we want, getting people to our website for our studio, elevating engagement, we want people talking about our studio, and amplifying conversion rates. We actually want them giving us their details so that we can get them in for trials and then enrolling them into our studio. So lots of cool stuff that we're going to talk about today. Please welcome our guest, Paul Raimondo. Hello, Paul.
Clint, how you going?
Awesome, man. Awesome. Great to have you guys. We do have another Aussie on the podcast.
Represent.
Paul, where are you today?
I'm in Perth in Western Australia.
Great. And guys, that is quite a flight. How far is that flight from Sydney?
Depends on the winds and stuff, but it's between I've been on flights 3.5 hours to 5 hours sometimes. Fun fact, Perth is the second most isolated capital city in the world, and it's only more isolated, or the only city more isolated than Perth is Honolulu. Fun fact.
Well, there you go. Would never have known that. Learned something already, and we haven't even jumped in. Hey, Paul, for those that might not know about you and your work, can you give us a bit of a snapshot in 60 seconds, what it is that you do and how do you help businesses to grow?
Awesome. Yeah. So I basically teach people advanced digital marketing strategies which drive real ROI. And I do that through my website, paulraimondo.com. And I also run a digital marketing company called Raimondo Media, where I basically, businesses like dance studios can come to me and I can basically build them advanced digital marketing strategies based on whatever their goals are, whether it's, getting more, leads through the door, getting more signups, that kind of thing.
Great. And that's exactly what they're after at the moment. Tell us a bit about your background, Paul, because, I know you decided to kind of quit your day job in your mid-20s and pursue your passion. And that's not dissimilar to our studio owners who, may have a job or, working part-time and they've got their studio on the side and then they want to make their studio their full-time gig. I mean, I'd love to know a bit about how you made that transition.
Yeah, for sure. It was funny. I've been working in the industry for probably over 8 years now. And I started when I was still in university. That was a long time ago. I basically was working in the agency world, pretty much doing what I'm doing now, but working for someone else. And I was, in the process of deciding whether I wanted to, go and move on to another agency because I kind of hit a ceiling where I was working and I'd learned a lot and I was ready to move on. Or I was thinking, I'd love to get involved with a really big brand. And I went into the full details on it, but I basically got to the point where I was like, I want to just do this for myself. Like, I want to build my own kind of dream. I think I can do it. Like, I really want to do it. So after a lot of planning, I called it doomsday planning. Like, I was pretty much like, once I made the decision, I want to start my own business. I knew what I wanted to do and I had a goal. I basically counted literally like the dollars and cents in my account in I call it my house fund. Like, I'm trying to buy a house one day. And pretty much worked out how long I could survive for running my business, supporting myself financially in every sense of the word, without having to, ask my parents to move back in with them and then ask them for a loan. That was the worst. That was the worst for me. I was like, I'm not doing that. So how long can I basically try and make this work for, based on, the money that I have saved now? And that was, I made the plunge on the 10th of September last year to go full time. And honestly, it's the best decision I have ever made in my life. Since starting and going solo, the amount of success and the amount of hard work I put in as well is crazy. But it's just blown my mind in terms of how much I've been able to grow my business since launching and since attacking it full time every day. I feel really grateful that I have this opportunity, that I'm able to do this. But yeah, it all came down to the decision to go and start my business and go and do it on my own. And then just putting in, the small steps in place to plan appropriately and then just doing it, just taking the plunge, throwing yourself in the deep end.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a story that a lot of people talk about, but, I've watched you since you started, going out on your own and have kind of seen you explode into the space. I mean, what do you think has been the key ingredient? Because I'm thinking of our studio owners and they're like, yeah, but, that sounds great, but then how do you know and what do you focus on? I mean, did you say, right, here are my goals, this is what I need to do revenue-wise, and these are the activities that are going to get me to that point faster? Like, not being distracted, because I think there's lots of opportunities, those shiny disco balls that people grab onto. But have you been quite kind of disciplined in terms of, what time you spend doing what and what result that's going to get you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have to be, one of the biggest things about starting your own business is you have to respect your time so much. And when I say respect your time, I mean, you really need to respect the time that's, generating you the revenue or, helping you move closer to your overarching goals, whatever they may be. And then not letting you, like you said, get distracted by the disco ball. I call them unicorns. Like, don't get distracted by the shiny unicorn, because one thing will lead to another. And if you've spent even just half an hour looking at a, shiny disco ball, before you know it, and this happens to me all the time, it still happens to me 3 hours later, you're like, oh, damn, I have achieved nothing.
Damn that Facebook, video. Damn that YouTube interview.
That's it, man. That's it. And, I'm a super nerd. So I still do this. I did it yesterday. I lie to myself. I'm like, no, I'm educating myself. I'm learning something new. Realistically, it's that's leisure time. You know what I mean? It's not helping me work towards my business goals. So I think, respecting your time is one of the biggest things. And, for me, my ultimate goal in the first 3 months of starting was to basically have enough retainer business so that I was able to have a foundation in which I could grow my business and reinvest back into my business moving forward. So I set myself a really small, timed, achievable goal, very smart goal. And I just, went balls to the wall and attacked it and tried to get it for the first 3 months. And then it was a matter of, all right, cool, I achieved this. I've got a bit more revenue behind me. What can I reinvest back into the business to hit the next goal? And it was a very, very, a very staged process, essentially.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, this is great for our studio owners. So guys, if you're just starting up your studio, Paul's talked about a couple of incredible, really valuable things. How many students do you want in your studio over the next 90 days? And then what's that revenue going to be able to do for you? You've got that recurring income. Then do you want to invest X amount into marketing, like Facebook ads, which we'll talk about today, to then bring in new people? So I think the important thing there is, setting the goal, putting those mini steps, the action that you're going to take every day in place to then move you then to that next point. And then essentially it's rinse and repeat continually.
100%. And you know what, honestly, the biggest thing, and I only really, I wouldn't say painfully learned this, it was a process. And I understood the principle of it. And it's been told to me so many times, but until I actually lived it, I didn't really understand it. And that's this. And it is not to be romantic with your money in the sense that you could be making, let's say you sign up, I don't know, a few extra classes of 20 people, right? And that may give you X amount of revenue. And cool, X amount of revenue. I can now pay myself a little bit more and go buy myself a fancy little, I don't know, tidbit that I really want, or I want to go out and just get a really, really nice meal with my partner. And I mean, if you can afford it, that's awesome, but you shouldn't be romantic with your money in the sense that don't go and spoil yourself until you've kind of taken care of your business in the first place. And for me, the opportunity cost of time in terms of if I could spend something or spend money on a person or a piece of software that allows me to save an incredible amount of my personal time, it's better for me to go and do that than for me to actually go and invest my own time completing that task, which could be done a lot cheaper, through a staff member or through a piece of software, because my time is worth more and I need to be focusing my time on what's generating my business the most revenue on tasks that only I can achieve.
Yeah, guys, this is gold, because one thing that I talk about a lot, Paul, is, our studio owners are wearing 100 hats. They're the accountant, the marketing manager, they're scheduling teachers, they're training teachers, they're doing the admin work. And one of the things that we teach is about, letting go, delegating, getting the software, getting the technology, getting the staff member, because your time is so valuable. And ideally, we just want to be working in that, zone of genius. What do we do that no one else can do? And that's a really tricky question. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, because I think it's so valuable. Now, I want to jump into your area of expertise, which is, all things digital marketing. One of the first things I wanted to talk about are conversion funnels, because something we talk about a lot in the Dance Studio Owners Association is landing pages and sales funnels, and it kind of confuses people. If they're new to it, they're like, what's a conversion funnel? So I'd love for you to kind of explain to us the process of how we go about someone knowing about us, and then how they engage with us, and then essentially how they could maybe enroll in our classes.
Yeah, for sure. So a conversion funnel is really just a fancy word that I use to describe a sales pipeline or a customer journey. And conversion funnels are not something that are unique to digital marketing. I mean, they are ubiquitous across offline and online marketing, and they've been around for since the start of sales and marketing, like hundreds of years, right? And it's pretty much just the journey that you take your customer on from initial awareness about finding out about your business, and are guiding them through a process that leads them to eventually selling something to them. So that's probably the most basic definition of what a conversion funnel is. In terms of ways in which you guys, dance studio owners, in my mind, could leverage digital marketing to build a conversion funnel, I feel like you really need to work out, the first thing is you really need to work out where and how people are initially finding out about your business. So, I mean, are they conducting a Google search on mobile, or are they clicking on in which case, if they're conducting a Google search to find out about generic terms related to your business, which your business might the services that your business may do, then you want to make sure that you're doing Google AdWords and doing SEO to place yourself and your message initially when someone's searching for that on Google. And then it's a matter of, okay, cool. They clicked on an ad, a Google AdWord, once they'd searched for your services, they get taken to your website. What does that experience look like when they land on your website? Are you running a website that's not, mobile optimized? And they have to pinch and, squint and go to heaps of effort just to read the information that's on your landing page? Or is your landing page that they get taken to really sexy? And does it communicate what your brand's about? And does it provide a lot of value about, and solve the problem which they're trying to have solved because of the question they typed into Google? And then it's a matter of if you're ticking those two boxes, how are you going to get their lead information? Are you going to just ask them to submit an inquiry to find out about the cost of your services, or are you going to offer them something like a lead magnet that allows them to get some free value at a very, very low currency, the currency being usually like a phone number, first name, or email address? And the lead magnet might be something like, a free ebook, 10 ways to get started with dancing in this niche. And basically the goal of that is you've automated that whole process. So now if you've given them some value or you've got their contact information, you can then start doing some cool things in terms of following up with a sales phone call or following up with more value. And essentially a conversion funnel refers to that whole process from initial awareness, like the Google search, all the way down to capturing the lead information. And then ultimately at the end of the funnel, at the very, very bottom, the goal is for them to commit to you and actually buy something from you.
I love it. So clear and simple. And look, this is something that we teach inside the association. I'd love to get your thoughts, because some people say to me, Clint, I don't need to do that. What are your thoughts on people that are like, no, that's too hard, that's too complicated? I mean, are they going to get left behind?
I mean, I feel like people that say that they don't need a conversion funnel, respectfully, and I say this with utmost respect, are lying, because no matter what kind of business you have some kind of way in which you go about acquiring customers. And it may not be as technically complex as the system that I just described, which once it's set up, it can run on autopilot, right? Which is amazing, because if you have you'll spend a lot of time setting it up, but if you have a system of generating leads that works, then you can work out your overall CPA, which is the cost per acquisition or the cost per lead, how much it costs for you to get a lead on the phone or get a lead walking into your studio. That whole system's automated. And why wouldn't you do that? It's just smart business. And we were talking earlier about, to tie this back into the bigger business, overarching business goals, you need to be spending your time where it's best spent. And if you can invest in systems and you can invest in staff that allow you to automate those processes, so you're not like manually chasing leads and trying to, get more sales through the door so that you can try and, have your business survive. If you can automate that process, then you can focus your time on, doing more top level stuff, whether it's improving your actual product or the services or getting better services that you can teach your staff or teaching them new things. Like, you need to be spending your time there. So damn, like if you can build a conversion funnel that's automated and it's so easy online, you should do it, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, look, mine too. And I think it's important as more and more studio owners are kind of jumping on this and putting them on their website and are getting kind of familiar and comfortable with technology. I do believe that those that don't have some type of lead magnet or something that kind of walks customers through this journey online, then they are going to get left behind. And there's more and more dance studios opening all the time, which is what all of our studio owners tell us. And so I think it's about, standing out from the crowd. And these types of things, having an automated sales funnel set up helps you to stand out. The other thing that you mentioned, Paul, which I loved, is it's so great around follow-up. So I think about the old days when I had my studio, and a lot of our studio owners were the same. You'd get a phone call and you'd write someone's name down on a Post-it note, and then you'd have to remember to, call them before their trial class to come in. And I mean, that's all done for us now through technology, right? Which is so valuable. Now, I've seen on Facebook that you post a lot about Facebook ads, and I know you've got a lot of clients who you've achieved some fantastic results with. And not a day goes by where I don't get asked a question from our members about Facebook advertising. They say, we've got this page and we're posting on our page and no one, is engaging with it. We know that Facebook has greatly changed, was changing every day, but especially over the last 12 months in terms of it's definitely a pay-to-play platform. And I think it's really valuable to be putting money into Facebook. But, people saying, well, how much should I spend? And how do I know this is the right thing to do? I'd kind of love to get, firstly, your explanation around, Facebook advertising, how it can help, and how people should initially tackle that beast.
For sure. So firstly, I just want to start off by saying that the fact that we have platforms like Facebook in 2016, where you can literally go into the back end of Facebook and target whoever you want, wherever in the world, for a very, very scalable, affordable price, and put your message in front of your audience. That's amazing. In terms of the history of marketing and advertising, it's Facebook ads, it's unparalleled it's the best marketing targeting platform in the history of the world. Today's the 12th of May, 2016. It's ridiculous. If you know enough about who your perfect customer is or what your customer archetype is, you can literally, I know I can literally target that subset of the population, so I can get my message in front of my peeps, and the fact that you can do that is absolutely amazing. And if anyone, complains about, Facebook's pay to play and we don't really get much organic reach on our page and stuff, honestly, that's cool. I'm not really too concerned about organic reach, because the real value is really being able to target my perfect customer and get my message in front of them, and being able to develop a system behind how much it's going to cost me. We were talking about leads earlier, what's my CPA, my cost per acquisition. I now know what my cost per acquisition is through running a Facebook ads funnel to get a customer from general awareness about who I am and my content through to buying, an ebook or buying an online course from me. And it's amazing, absolutely amazing. In terms of, getting started with Facebook ads and what kind of budget you should use, honestly, with everything I teach is pretty much you need to test. You need to test everything first and start with small budgets, because there's no point wasting your money on ads on Facebook or in any advertising for that matter, until you actually know how people are going to respond to you, how people are going to respond to your ads. So the first thing I'd recommend doing is test. If you have an idea of who you're targeting, find who that audience is, develop your perfect archetype of your customer, build a bunch of ads, and test it to that audience, and you can do this for like $5 a day, right? It's not expensive. And if you ran just like a $5 ad campaign, or you could even do it for less, like let's say you have $100, you can run a $100 ad set on Facebook ads across a 30-day period to your perfect audience, testing a bunch of ads. It may be value positioned ads around kind of like what you guys do, or it might be a blog post about the 7 things that all mums need to know before putting their kids in kindy dance lessons, right? And you might target that to mums who have, children that, really have expressed an interest in wanting to, dance around the kindy age. And they're kind of like on the fence about, oh, is this something that's really right for like my child? So you would go and target the mum, right? And then you send a blog post out to them. Like that's the ads, right? You would send a blog post about the 7 best things or the 7 things you need to know before enrolling your child in a dance class. And you will get a ridiculous amount of response from those, from your ads. And some people are like, well, that's not really advertising. Well, it is. It's content marketing. And the goal is to really like provide a lot of value up front. Like no one wants to be sold to, cold from someone they don't even know. Like that's sleazy. Like that happened in real life. Like it's not cool. Going a bit of a tangent, but I feel like the other most important thing when you first start advertising on Facebook is thinking about the sleazy telemarketer that rings you at 6:30 during dinner, or the vacuum salesman that comes and knocks on your door around 4:30 in the afternoon trying to sell you a vacuum. Like if you don't know those people that are calling you or knocking on your door, like how do you think you're going to feel like when they knock on your door or call your phone number, like your house phone during dinner? Like you're not going to be too impressed with them. You're going to be like, oh, I want to get you out. Like I'm just going to be polite, but I kind of don't care what you're saying, right? And you need to apply that same psychology to Facebook ads, because no one wants you to throw an ad in their feed and be like, buy my shit.
And I think that's important. Building that trust and credibility is crucial. And I think that's kind of where we're headed. I love that you talk about testing, because frequently someone will say, I tried Facebook advertising, I did an ad yesterday and it didn't work, so I'm just giving up. How are you responding to those people? I mean, how long should someone kind of test a campaign for? And really, when you're in that testing process, should we be testing a couple of different images with different copy? Like, how do you kind of go about testing a campaign essentially?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a massive fan of multivariate testing, which basically means testing as many variables related to the ads that you're promoting as possible before deciding on which one works, and then scaling the ones that work, right? So as a rule of thumb, I would recommend starting out with one ad set. And in that ad set, you have like, let's say your perfect target audience. And then within the ad sets in Facebook, there's a hierarchy in terms of how you create Facebook ads. So you select a campaign based on the type of goal that you want. So let's say it's you're just going to promote a blog post. So you might select a website link campaign, and then that's the top level. Then you create an ad set. And the ad set basically allows you to choose your budget, your timing, when you want to run in the day, and define who your audience is. And then within each ad set are the ads, and you can have as many ads in that ad set as what you want, right? So I would just go for rule of thumb, 5 different ads. And you might want to test 5 different images being the biggest thing, because they're the most visual and the most image captivating, or the most captivating in terms of attention. And remember, like, the attention is the goal, right? You want to build your ads in a way that's going to get attention first, because we live in such a attention deficit society, and we're so scroll happy that, you need to think about like how people consume content on Facebook, or think about how you consume content on Facebook. You might be doing it whilst you're watching The Block, sitting on your couch, and you're just kind of like dual screening, like having your phone out and kind of like paying very little attention to both. Or you might be in the bathroom. 83% of people use their smartphones whilst on the toilet, right? And if they're just scrolling in their feed, then you need to make sure that your ad is like jumping out at them and demanding their attention to stop. And one of the best ways to do that is with the actual image that you're designing. And then the other things I'd recommend testing are, things like the ad copy, things like the type of headlines that you're using, things like the subheading, which is below the headline on like a website link ad on Facebook, the call to action. And I would test all different versions of these within each of the ad sets. And then let's say, like I said, you build 5, and then I would duplicate that ad set out and then change. Remember the ad set's on the second level. So if you've got 5 ads in that ad set, you duplicate that ad set, it creates a carbon copy. And remember the ad set's about targeting. So then I would change the target audience slightly to a different archetype of my customer. And then I'd run those same ads to a different subset of my audience, a different archetype in my audience. And then I would, say throw $100 on it, run it over a 30-day period. If you're running that many ads, you probably need a little bit more budget. It's $100 over a week, right? Let's say for both ad sets. And then you just sit back and you wait for the data to tell you what to do. And the biggest thing is what you think is going to work amazingly. And like I say this, like I disrespect myself when I say this, like, because I'm like, I think I'm pretty good, right? I'm like, Paul, you're really good at doing Facebook ads. This one's going to be baller. And then like, lo and behold, I run a bunch of tests and I'm like, oh shit. Like the one that I thought was going to do the best actually was the worst. And the one that I thought was really, really crap outperformed everyone by like 10x the performance of all of the other ads that I ran. So I wouldn't have known that unless I did the testing.
Totally. I love this because we're exactly the same boat. We do exactly the same thing. And that's why I had a giggle, because you go, oh my God, this ad's amazing. And then it's like the one that you're like, really? Why? Yep. Really? Yep. Is that working? And so that's why, guys, it's so important to test, because you might, put time and energy into one image with one lot of copy and you put it out there and that doesn't work. But then you could have had another one that you could have put out and another one. I mean, that's why testing is so, so, so important.
100%.
Paul, I know we're running out of time, but I really want to talk about Snapchat.
Word, let's do it.
Because our studio owners are coming to us saying, Clint, all of our students are like on Snapchat, and I don't know how it works, and I don't see how it could be valuable for our studio. And so I'd love to kind of get your ideas around, firstly, for those that might not know, like, what is Snapchat? And essentially, how could we start using it in our dance studio to, connect? I think it's great for connecting with current students, so helping with retention. But also, can we, how do we kind of build a following there and potentially maybe get some people from Snapchat into our studio?
For sure. So I'll just give you a brief synopsis on the platform and how it works, and then what you can do to kind of, and why it's awesome, and then what you can do to kind of get a bunch of followers to, essentially incorporate Snapchat into your conversion funnel, right? So Snapchat is basically a platform that takes away all of this perfectionism around social media and gives you really real time, almost live, very, very real, unedited content, and I guess gateways into other people's lives, right? And at its core, it started out as like a sexting app, back in when it was developed years ago, in a dorm room, a very, very Zuckerberg-esque type foundation story. And it's blown up into this crazy global, domination, of a social media platform. It's been, Facebook tried to buy them out for $3 billion, I'm pretty sure, a year or two ago, and flew out the CEO of Snapchat to Facebook and offered this money, and then the CEO was like, yeah, nah. And they've basically exploded since then. But I mean, damn, you turned down a $3 billion offer to buy your business after it's been alive for 3 to 4 years. $3 billion, and that's crazy. And the reason I believe the reason that he's turned it down is because there's in terms of a platform, Snapchat in my mind is the next Facebook. Very, very different beasts, but in terms of the value and the return and being able to scale and grow your business in the future, Snapchat is the new Facebook in my mind. And the main reason I believe that is because it offers an unparalleled sense of personification of your brand and who you are or who your business is than anything else, any other marketing platform that I've ever seen in the history that I've been doing, digital marketing and marketing. In terms of how do we get some followers? How can we get people looking at what we're doing? You can go old school, right? If you got your Snapchat handle, right? Let's say, for example, my Snapchat handle is Paul Raimondo, right? So you can now drive people to a link, which is hosted on Snapchat, which you can use the URL, which allows people to go to that link and then add you directly to follow you on Snapchat, right? So if you want the link, I'll give it to you. It's basically snapchat.com/add, so ADD snapchat.com/username. So for example, mine is snapchat.com/ADD/Paul Raimondo, all one word. And then what that means, once you've got that URL, it means you can actually start promoting your Snapchat URL on your existing social networks in your email newsletter. You can start promoting the Snapchat QR code, which is something that you get with every single Snapchat account, in your actual dance studios, or at the bottom of your newsletters, or in your actual social media, or as a display picture of your Facebook account, or a display picture of your Instagram account. And basically, people can screenshot or save that QR code of your Snapchat account and then go into Snapchat and just go into their photos and press scan, and it automatically adds you within like a second as a follower on their Snap, or as someone to follow on their Snapchat, which is really, really cool. In terms of just overall tips to grow your Snapchat, just think about everything you do on your other social platforms to grow it, and how you how you send traffic to those platforms, and then just apply it to Snapchat, because you've got this URL option, and it's a really, really powerful way to do it when you're first starting out.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and I mentioned to you before we started this interview, guys, I've been following Paul now for a few months, and he's got a very engaging account. Do you think one of the keys is consistency?
Absolutely. And I'm trying, I made it one of my, we talked about goals earlier, making it one of my daily goals, and I haven't achieved it every day this week, but my daily goal at the moment is to upload. So I use my Snapchat account every day. In my Snapchat account, I've got a show called the Daily Digital Marketing Show, or Daily Digital Marketing Tips. And basically every single day I give a daily digital marketing tip away to my audience. I give a lot of value. Or I answer a question that someone's asked me about digital marketing, and I answer that within my daily digital marketing tip. And essentially, I'm producing, 1 to 2 minute, or not even, probably like 1 minute type clips, super fast, super paced, because you're limited to 10 seconds in how you can tell your story. And I'm providing a lot of value in a bite-sized nugget form. And I mentioned earlier that we're all super attention deficit. We're all super scroll happy in 2016. And Snapchat's awesome because it caters to this attention deficit, which we all have. We're very, very easily distracted, right? The shiny disco ball that we're talking about earlier. And Snapchat basically is like, all right, cool. Here's like a quick little 30 seconds to 1 minute piece of valuable content, and then it's done. And if I'm doing that every single day, the consistency is awesome, and it means that people can come back and view my account every single day, and they know that, all right, cool, if I need digital marketing tips today, I know this, I try to be entertaining, this guy's entertaining, and it's providing me value, and it's going to be over, worst case scenario, it's over in like 30 seconds.
Are you saving, so when you kind of are doing these videos, I mean, it's a lot of content, and for those that don't know, Snapchat essentially is there and then it goes. Are you, saving all of these videos somewhere? Are you repurposing the content yet?
Absolutely. So I actually have just started this weekend repurposing. I'm up to tip number 32 or 33 on my Snapchat, right? And I've just this week put in place, we talked about systems and processes earlier. I've just put in place a really, really cool repurposing mechanism for all of my Snapchat content. And I'll quickly run through it because I know we don't have too much time. But if you're concerned as a business owner about investing all this time to Snapchat and be like, oh, it's going to disappear, it's going to be gone after 24 hours, don't be, because you can save all your story, and it just saves onto your photo reel on your iPhone or on your Android, and it just saves into a collection of the clips that you've uploaded to your story. And the story is kind of like the newsfeed version on Facebook, on Snapchat, like on Facebook. And basically, you can save the story, and then you can upload it to YouTube, or you can upload it to your Facebook page. You can even just upload it straight from your phone, so you can repurpose that for the future. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm repurposing all of my daily digital marketing tips into a Keynote template that I've built, which is like PowerPoint. And then I'm exporting the Keynote template with the video to basic like MP4, like movie file. And then I'm uploading that into YouTube, which is now in like widescreen form because I've used a template. And then I'm promoting that YouTube, and I'm also uploading to Facebook, promoting that existing content with the link back to my Snapchat account, which we talked about earlier, like the Snapchat/ad/Paul Raimondo, and using the existing content that I created on Snapchat to drive more awareness about my Snapchat channel on my existing social networks, to drive more followers to my Snapchat so they can experience all the daily digital marketing tips live. And it's really, really cool. And it basically means that I can repurpose the content and get a lot more value and help a lot more people whilst also building my business and my brand in the same token. And then I'm also repurposing the video content that I've initially created on Snapchat, then put to YouTube and Facebook, and I'm repurposing that content into blog form as well. So it's like this massive synergy of content creation that's essentially all, I've basically automated most of it with staff members that I'm using, that work for me, to build all this content for me. And then all I have to do is invest my time in producing the actual Snapchat story.
Yeah.
Which is like a minute or two, right? Awesome.
Yeah, it's great, and I definitely see you jumping on, doing it well. So guys, definitely follow Paul, because it's a great place for you to start kind of seeing what great people are doing. Who are some other people that we should be following on Snapchat, Paul?
Definitely Chris Ma. Chris Ma is a mate of mine who's from Europe. And basically, he runs a business called the Content Marketing Academy. If you're looking at ideas and ways in terms of how to build your business through content marketing, and we touch on this a lot in this podcast, Chris Ma is the guy you want to be talking to and following. Another guy I'd recommend following is my mate. I actually interviewed him last week, James Chew. And he's basically known as the Aussie video guy, teaching small business owners, much like your audience, how they can create awesome video, which they can then promote on Facebook or promote on YouTube, or put into their conversion funnel to help them drive leads and signups. And he teaches business owners like your audience how to do that at a very, very low cost, and how to kind of get over the fear of being in front of a camera. He's amazing. His name's James Chew. I'll send you the links so you can pop them in the description for this video so you can give those guys a follow.
Perfect, man. That's great. Look, I've loved chatting to you. Paul, I'd love to wrap up by asking, for our studio owners, what do you think are the three tips to having a successful business? And I'd love to know the three things, and we've touched on it, but the three things that you've been doing, let's say over the last 6 to 12 months that have really moved the needle for you and the business.
Yeah, for sure. If I had to pick three things, there are so many, but I've had to pick three, I guess, guiding principles in terms of what has allowed me to achieve the success that I've been lucky enough, or the success I've been able to achieve to date. It would be, like touched on earlier, number one, respect your time, because that is the asset. Respect your time. Work, be willing to put in the work, and it's not glorious. I was just saying to you before we hopped on the interview, I've been up at 4:45 every morning this week, and I've literally, no hyperbole, been working 13 to 14 hour days, every day this week. And that's normal. I work every day, and I'm not saying that, everyone has to do that, but if you want something bad enough, you need to be willing to put in the work and be grateful that you are able to do that. Put in the work and don't complain about it. And obviously, you want to be doing what you love and loving what you do. And then I think the final one would be, I had it in my head just then, and that's it. Don't be a dick, right? Don't be a dick. Treat your customers, your audience, your staff with respect, right? Just be a good person and respect your time and be willing to put in the work. And honestly, providing, and I'm assuming that your product, whatever you're doing, is awesome. And if the product is awesome and you put in the time, you respect your time, you put in the work, and you're not a dick, in my mind, you'll be successful, 100%. It's as simple as that in my mind anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. Paul, if and I'm sure they're going to want to find out kind of more about you and maybe how you could help them, especially with their Facebook ads, where should they go?
Yeah, for sure. So my website, which is paulraimondo.com, be able to find heaps of advanced digital marketing strategies, tips, hacks, and how-tos. I'll give you the link so you can pop that in the description. And if you're wanting to get started with Facebook ads and actually building your first automated conversion funnel on Facebook, I'd recommend going to paulraimondo.com/Facebook-funnels-101. And you can access my free video course, which teaches you all the fundamental theory behind conversion funnels, how to set up your first Facebook conversion funnel, and everything in between that you need to know. And it's all free. Definitely a lot of value, if I don't say so myself.
guys, it's good. I've seen it when Paul released it. It's really good. So check it out. It's going to answer a lot of questions that a lot of you have and kind of put those fears at bay if you haven't jumped into Facebook advertising yet. Look, Paul, great chat. I could talk to you for hours. We might get you back at some point. Thank you for taking the time out today to talk to our studio owners. Really appreciate it.
Clint, thank you so much for having me. I've had a great time chatting, and I really appreciate you reaching out and hitting me up. And like, if anyone has any questions, like, I'm a bundle of free information. Add me on Facebook, like, as a friend, and hit me up with questions. I'm happy to help as many people as possible. And like I said before, thanks again for having me, Clint. Like, I really appreciate the opportunity to help some more people and talk to your audience.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us today. For all the resource links from the show and to receive access to our free dance studio growth training, make sure you visit transformmydancestudio.com.